Assalamualaikum and a very good day to our precious Malaysian Economy Eco 261 lecturer, Madam Suraya binti Hussein. Today, our group, which is Group 1 from BA 1115B class, would like to make you a short presentation about the budget for 2022. Before that, let me introduce our group member of Group 1 from BA 1115B class. Introducing myself, Nur Farah Adriana binti Ahmad Faizal. Next, Nur Anissa Amalin binti Muhammad Hishamuddin. Besides that, we have Nur Syuhada binti Zulkifli. Lastly, Nur Hazir Radiah binti Sapawi. Now, let's proceed to our next agenda. Has everyone heard about the budget? Do you know what does budget means? Budget means the incentive that a government has planned for a specific year. The budget will be tabled in the parliament at the end of the year. For the year 2022, the budget has been presented by the Minister of Finance, Yang Berhormat Mulia Senator Datuk Seri Utama Tengku Zafrul bin Tengku Abdul Aziz on 29 October 2021 at the Parliament of Malaysia in Kuala Lumpur. Without wasting time, let's move to the economy outlook for 2022. There are three focuses by the government in the year 2022. The first focuses are to foster the Malaysians' prosperity. The second focuses are to enhance a competitive business. The third focuses are to ensure a prosperous and sustainable economy. The 2022 budget will continue supporting the implementation of the RMK12, which prioritizes three themes, which are economic regeneration, well-being and inclusion, and sustainability as part of the Malaysian family's path to prosperity. Some of the incentives that will be taken by the government in the year 2022 are to create safe tourism activities and restoration activities. The government has committed 14 million ringgit to the United Nations Development Programme. The initiative is to help the economic growth of the country in 2022. In addition, we move to the fiscal outlook for 2022. Fiscal policy will remain to be an essential contribution in aiding economic recovery. However, after calculating the income growth and necessary expenses, the fiscal deficit as a percentage of GDP is predicted to be decreased to 6%. Moreover, the primary trade does not include debt servicing payments, despite the fact that GDP is predicted to be 3.3%. The government has committed to provide fiscal support needed to restore the domestic sector and return the country to its full economic potential. As a result, step budgetary consolidations will resume progressively based on the medium-term fiscal plan. Now, we look at how the budget for 2022 will be allocated. As I mentioned before, that there are three focuses by the government. Examples of initiative by the government will be provided based on the first focuses. The first focuses are to foster Malaysian prosperity. There are few strategies to allocate the focuses. The first strategy is to improve the citizens' standard of living and to increase job opportunities. The first initiative will be taken by the government and through direct cash assistance and charity. Direct financial aids initiative will be improved in 2022. The government will implement certain modifications to the Assistance Malaysian Family that will also known as the Bantuan Keluarga Malaysia or BKM program, so that the group that is actually in needs receive greater attention. As a result, in 2022, BKM will channel 2,000 ringgit in aids to home with 3 or more children and monthly incomes of less than 2,000 ringgit. Next, the government will allocate the budget through access to public facilities. The Ministry of Health will get 32.4 billion ringgit in the 2022 budgets for operations and development expenses. The third initiative by the government is to provide quality education to everyone. This budget continues to place a high priority on education as a portion of state spending. Malaysia's Ministry of Education would continue to receive the largest allocation totaling 52.6 billion ringgit or 16% of total federal spending forecast. Moreover, 14.5 billion ringgit would be granted to the Ministry of Higher Education. Finally, let's see where does the budget comes from. The 2022 budget will provide a total of 332.1 billion ringgit, which is the largest allocation amount. The budget comes from many resources. The money will be allocated from the income tax up to 35.7%, borrowing and use of government asset about 29.5%, non-tax revenue around 18.9%, indirect tax up to 13.3%, and lastly from the other direct taxes about 2.6%. That's all from me. Thank you for hearing. Let's move to my friend Anis Amalin. Assalamualaikum.
Thank you, Farah. I'm Nur Anis Amalin, and I'm going to continue this video by presenting about our main key highlights and takeaways. The first one is cash and repayment assistance. The government will implement the Bantuan Keluarga Malaysia (BKM) Financial Assistance Program, which will include special upgrades to guarantee that those who are most in need are given priority. For 2022, the BKM will provide 2,000 in support to families with 3 or more children who earn less than 2,500 per month. Other ideas address the difficulties encountered by single moms in providing for their family, as well as the B40 senior citizens who lack enough retirement funds and have no stable income. In addition, single-parent families with a monthly income of up to 5,000 will get an extra 500 as a bonus in 2022. In addition, senior citizen families will get an extra 300 in financial aid. This implies that a single mother or father with 3 or more children can get up to 2,500 in BKM. The government has decided to offer 150 in early schooling assistance per student in 2022. This budget provides a one-time special incentive for teaching aids of RM100. Besides, the government is pleased to announce an RM700 special financial assistance to 1.3 million civil servants grade 56 and below, and an RM350 special financial assistance to 1 million government retirees. In order to simplify the repayment procedure and foster a responsible attitude, the government has decided to offer a reduction on PT-PTN loan repayments from 1 November 2021 to 30 April 2021. Under Budget 2022, the government has set aside around RM31 billion, mostly for subsidies, aid and incentive, to guarantee that rural communities, notably in Sabah and Sarawak, have affordable access to essential items like LPG and fuel. The government will spend RM200 million subsidizing the cost of transportation and distribution of basic goods to rural areas. Next is the minimum employee EPF contribution rate will be reduced from 11% to 9%. The government will subsidize 50% or up to RM150 of the purchase of child safety seats by B40 households. Furthermore, the government has set aside 24 million ringgit to expand the community feeding program to children from urban poor families. The government will continue to give subsidies to help defray the cost of uneconomical train services in rural regions. Furthermore, the government has set aside RM80 million for the Interim Stage Bus Support Fund (ISBSF), which will assist stage buses, as well as 150 million ringgit for an RM50 monthly unlimited bus and train travel ticket for the commuter primarily in the Klang Valley. In the budget 2022, the government intends to prolong until 31 December 2022 the special individual income tax benefit of up to 2,500 ringgit for the purchase of mobile phones, computers and tablets. Next, the government's plans to exclude EVs from imports duty, excise duty and sales tax in order to help the local EV sector grow. Vehicles owner will also be eligible for road tax exemptions of up to 100%. Individual income tax relief of up to 2,500 ringgit will also be available for the purchase and installation of EV charging facilities, as well as the rental and hire purchase of EV charging facilities and the payment of EV charging facility subscription fees. Furthermore, the government intends to extend the 4,000 ringgit tax break for EPF participants. Besides, the tax relief limit for social contributions will be increased. Furthermore, the government will prolong the 100% sales tax exemption on CKD passenger vehicles and 50% on CBU including SUVs and MPVs for another 6 months until June 30, 2022. That's all from me.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Noshada bintu Zulkifli. Now I want to talk about the financial support and aid for the school kids. Now I want to talk about the financial support from the government. First, the government introduced BKM, or known as Bantuan Keluarga Malaysia. There have a few types of BKM, such as aid of 2,000 to the household income who less than 2,500 per month with 3 or more children. Second, aid of 1,500 to the household income who less than 2,500 per month with 2 children. Third, aid of 1,000 to the household income who less than 2,500 per month with no children and others. In total from BKM, the government allocate 8.9 billion ringgit Malaysia to 9.6 million people who receive these benefits. Next, on budget 2022, there have an increase in the income eligibility requirement in line with the food poverty line income on 2019 at 1,169 ringgit Malaysia compared to 2016. After that, the government also allocate 25 million on Yayasan Keluarga Malaysia to the kids or children who lost their parents because of COVID-19. The government also provided one-time special incentive for teaching aid of 100 ringgit Malaysia. More than 400,000 teachers under Ministry of Education will receive the incentive. Next, I want to talk about the aid for the school kids. First, the government giving early schooling assistance of 150 ringgit per student. From this initiative, the government allocate 550 million ringgit Malaysia and will give benefit to 3 million eligible students. Second, the government also allocate 1 billion ringgit Malaysia for school maintenance and upgrading work. From this initiative, more than 10,000 schools who under Ministry of Education will receive the benefits. Third, the government want to reinforce the program for the special needs education by allocate of 15 million ringgit Malaysia. Last but not least, through supplementary food programming (RMT), the government provided the milk daily to the all school students. Next, I want to talk about the extension of wages subsidies and hiring programming to aid workers who affected by the pandemic. First, from the Jamin Kerja Keluarga Malaysia or Jamin Kerja will give 600,000 job opportunity to the people, and from this initiative, the government allocate 4.8 billion ringgit Malaysia. Second, the government also give incentive to the employer as much as 20% for the first 6 months and 30% for the following 6 months, which the salary of 1,500 ringgit Malaysia and above if hiring Malaysia people who not been actively working under Jamin Kerja. Third, the government also want to motivate the employer to provide the job opportunity for the special people like people with disabilities (OKU) by giving incentive 30% for the first 6 months and 40% for the following 6 months, which the salary of 1,200 ringgit Malaysia and above. Last but not least, on budget 2022, there has increasing on tax exemption for the expenses of attending and upskilling programming from 1,000 ringgit Malaysia to 2,000 ringgit Malaysia.
Assalamualaikum, I'm Noh Hazaradia, the last presenter, and for now I will proceed with the ramping up public health to fight COVID-19 pandemic. First of all, who is public health? Public health are the people who promotes and protect health of all people in communities. The example of public health such as health educators, social workers, scientists, public health doctors, nurses, and many more. On Budget 2022, the government decided to ramp it up the public health to fight against the COVID-19 cases. Since 2 years ago, we can see that the public health actively plays their role to reduce the numbers of COVID-19 cases. However, in 2022, the efforts need to be improved as to raise awareness among the people about their health. Public health also should do a collaboration with influencers and also a campaign through radios, television, and any social media platforms. This is one of the ways to raise the attention of people in order to get vaccinated. Furthermore, the public health should cooperate with the influencers to reach more people in social media. By doing collaboration, it can reduce the uncertainty that drives vaccine hesitancy among people, build trust, and could strengthen the relationship among communities. Not just that, the public health also need to be concerned about the rural communities. The rural communities are the people who are affected by high level of poverty, lower access of quality healthcare, and lower levels of health education. Most of them also highly risky to get affected rather than urban area as they could not afford health insurance and medical treatment. Due to this case, the community health need to form a system care that are available to rural populations. Hence, the government also took part by providing enough personal protective equipment such as surgical masks, gloves, gowns to ease the public health duty. Next, we are going to credit where's the credit's due. In this context, we all agree that the person who are getting the credit are the government. The government had enforced the Movement Control Order, which is MCO, to reduce the movement and limit physical contact as the viruses spread through the air. Not just that, the government also concerned about the impacts on economy. For instance, the government had invested 250 billion by creating preventive package to provide support which cover all range of people from students, families, and small business which badly affected by COVID-19 crisis. In the meantime, some of the credit should go to the healthcare workers too. The healthcare workers is of course the doctors, nurses, medical officers, and all those who work in the field of health department. This is due to their sacrifice, invaluable dedication, and commitments to all the patients of COVID-19. Since the rising of this virus, the healthcare workers need to double or triple up their work in order to treat all the patients day by day. Instead of risking their life, they need to stay away from their families and children. Moreover, they also experience burnout as they did not get enough rest due to overwork. People believe that the healthcare workers should get the credits as without their hard work, more leave will be sacrificed every day. Overall, Budget 2022 is crucial in order to ensure the economic growth of Malaysian country. As we know, COVID-19 had caused great impacts to people's lives. Many people were losing jobs, income, and also their family members. By creating Budget 2022, it can help to secure the welfare of Malaysian citizens. In Budget 2022, it comes with the theme of Keluarga Malaysia, Makmur Sejahtera, which focusing on 3R, which is strengthening recovery, building resilience, and driving reforms. This concept is to ensure that nobody in this country will be left out from country's recovery agenda after facing difficulties brought by the pandemic. In Budget 2022, Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob, the Prime Minister, also said that more jobs will be generated in tackling unemployment and to return the Malaysian economy with the new norms in place. However, instead of the government's alternative, we highly urge all the participation of all the society, including government workers and general public, in order to fight this COVID-19 together for a better future, and also to return the Malaysian economy into a better state as other countries. I think that's all from us. Thank you for your time and attention. Assalamualaikum.